everyone, how are you? I hope you're well. I am well, and today, as the title suggests, we are going to be cutting up our chicken, our whole chicken. And I just want to do the basics. If we haven't met, my name is Wanyiha Jean Dut, and this is the channel, The Making of a Chef. So today, I have, like you have seen, a whole chicken. This is a free-range chicken. Looks like that from the bottom and like this from the top. I have been buying chicken parts a lot, but I realized it would be so much better and so much easier to just divide my own chicken and just have the different parts for different meals. And that way I will know, I will get better at my cutting skills, and also just, have whatever pieces I need at hand. And I can also cook the chicken whole, and we'll get into that. But today we learn how to butcher a chicken, okay? This course in the school is called the boucher, basic boucher. This is very basic skills, okay? So the first thing I want us to learn, and you see how the chicken looks. You notice how there's loose skin over here between the thigh and the breast. So we are going to start with that, and I want the chicken to face me so I'll be able to just do the right thing as you watch. So what we're going to do is get the most important parts for cooking divided for different uses, and then you're going to get the spine or most of the bones for making a stock, okay? And we'll do that together. Up ahead, I also have, videos for making a stock, but we'll also be collecting our spines and just saving them for when we have enough to make different types of stock. So I'm going to cut that loose skin between my thigh and the breast, and you do see how it leaves such a huge space for you to be able to even see the bone that divides the two. And when you reach that bone just like that, you will notice as you extend your knife, and now the chicken is facing downwards, you will notice these two like bulging pieces here. That's called an oyster, and I want to cut that part as well, as for it to be part of my chicken quarters. Okay, so cutting there, and then I'm going to go ahead and break my bone. It breaks so easily, and just I'll move along, and if you're very keen, you'll notice some fatty line, and you can just move down that line. You will notice that you'll be able to divide the thigh very easily because the bone is already broken and jutting. Okay, so cut along those lines, and you have your quarter. This is the thigh and drumstick. Very important to be able to do that. It's an achievement here, especially as a young cook, just being able to do that. So on the joint between the thigh and the chicken breast, I'll go again just to expose the connection over there, and I'll go behind, just cutting the skin onto my oyster. It's just right at the spine, and you will notice it because it bulges, and I'm just going to use my knife very gently to just cut because it's a piece of meat, okay? So it won't be so difficult to pry. And I'm going to break the bone so that my joint disconnects from the spine, and just move along that, and you can do it while it's still on the chopping board, okay? So now we have our two chicken quarters that are actually the same size. This is very important for when you're serving the same group of people, okay? While my chicken is still lying on the board downwards, I'm going to identify the joints of the chicken wing and just cut sort of around it, without getting too much into the breast. I want to just cut around it. It's already giving away because the joint bone was broken, and I'll just go around like that and cut it off. As you can see, that wasn't difficult. Saving it in my bowl and doing the next one. Sometimes you find the bone still attached and you can just easily break it, okay? So looking for sort of the armpit here, and just going between the bone to separate, okay? So cutting around that, cutting the skin so you can see inside, and as you can see, the joint gets exposed and you can cut it off, okay? So we are cutting this with keeping in mind that we want the spine, okay? And you can see it's being exposed, okay? So now I'm going to show you something about the breast here. In here is a bone that's called a wishbone, and one thing you will notice about the connection between the connection of the breast to the rib cage is this line of fat. So I would encourage you to just go along that line of fat and just pry away. And we're just working very close to the rib cage, so we can be able to release our chicken breast along the line again, and that just brings you to the rib cage, and you just pry. I'm using a chef knife, but we can use a paring knife. I want a slimmer knife so that I'll be able to just get under and next to the bone like that, okay? Okay, so I've separated the breasts from the chest cavity, and what you notice immediately is the tendons just eager to be popped. Yeah, and so I'm going to have this in there, and I'm going in with my chef knife to just divide the two breasts. Okay, and this is so important for when you want to do a skin on breast. It is boneless, and just like that you have your chicken breast exposed, and this will do so well as stock. We have the whole chest and back. Okay, I'm going to keep this aside and just show you the pieces. I want my skin on, so we're going to do that. The chicken tenders should go under, so I'm going to just place them right under the breasts. The whole wing, and you can separate this, cutting off the tip to use in the stock. So I'm going to have the wing over there and the quarters. And just like that, we have our chicken fragmented. And guys, that's our butchering without the spine. And I'm going to show you several things we can do with this chicken, especially the legs and the wings. So I'm going to save this. This will be cooked with the skin, very important. And this will be cooked inside a different cut of meat. So with the wings has 3 parts, and just to divide it, you come to the joint and you will see a line. I don't think it's visible on the camera, but it's very easy to cut, especially if you have a sharp knife, to divide the drumette and the flat. And then these two has to be divided, and you get this goes to the stock because it's not very meaty, and so you have the two parts of the wings. So if you're breaking down your chicken and you want different parts, you can cut your wings just like that and save them until you have enough to make a chicken wing dish. Or if those 2 or 4 pieces are enough for you, then you can use those. Doing the same thing, taking this thing out for the stock, cutting in between the drumette and the flat, and you can see we have the 4 pieces of wings. These are so good for when you want to make a nice crispy chicken meat dish. Okay, and now the quarters, you can do several things. You can remove the bone and stuff the whole of the thigh and the drumstick, which is what I plan to do. So I'm going to remove the bones with you, but just keep in mind this can be divided right at the joint where you see the fatty line. This can be divided, so you have the thighs separate and also the drumsticks separate. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my slicing, deboning or paring knife. It's all the same thing you know, but it's slim enough for me to do either of those things. So I'm going to, there's a line at the center there. I'm just going to cut it to reveal my bone. And of course, you know, this bones runs to the joint. And I'm just going to sort of shave off the meat. Just going under like that. And there's cartilage on top here, which you really should get rid of. Okay, so cutting to reveal, and then you see the joints coming up. It's showing, it's not exactly divided. And I'm going to cut a line along my drumstick. Also cutting to reveal, but I want to get both of the bones out. So you can remove one first and then the other. As you can see, the joint is now revealed just by scraping like that. I'll cut it off. Go around the ball, the rounded part that's in front. And of course, with a sharper knife, you do this very fast. And I'll keep the bones for my stock as well. And then approach the second bone. And sometimes when you're making these particular dishes, you can make and leave the bone in the drumstick and just stuff this part. It's very good also, but I want to remove both bones and just leave the tip of the drumstick. I've just gone under. And so I have my thigh and my drumstick deboned, and I just want to cut off the bone at the knuckle. And it's out, guys. My knives are disappointing. That is why it's so important to invest in good knives. And I have my chicken thigh and drumstick deboned. I just have to get rid of some of the cartilage I see. Okay, so when it's like this, I can stuff my cheese and spinach. You can stuff anything, you know. You can stuff your chicken and cheese and just roll it in. So when it's deboned like that, there's so much you can do, including grilling it flat just like that, so that when it's done, you just cut up your meat and spread on top of a salad. Or you can stuff and roll, you know, the meat over your stuffing. And then once it's cooked, you can cut the pieces and serve on, you know, some mash or a salad, you know, just a chicken roll up. Okay, so very nice when it's deboned. And I'm going to do that to the next piece. So friends, we have cut up our chicken. Now we need to store it, and we will store it with like parts together. So you remember our thighs that we rolled? We are going to keep them or store them rolled just like we intended. And I'm saving them in Ziploc bags because this is one day's meal. Isn't it wonderful? Of course, if you have a bigger family, okay, so just like that. And we can freeze till we need them, or just keep them in the fridge for up to 3 days until we need to use them. Our chicken wings, 4 pieces. And these are nice for a snack, or if you want to save more. So the next time you butcher, you can add into the bag so that when you cook, you have like 10 or more. Because these are tiny pieces, you may want to have more pieces than that, yeah? But sometimes 2 are enough. We have the breast. And no, I'm not going to be stuffing this chicken with the skin. I'm going to cook it in a grill and finish it in the oven and make a sauce for it. Serve it with some vegetables. So that's why I kept the skin on. And that's a piece of chicken. When you make it well so that the skin gets crispy, it gets very delicious, yeah? So that's why I'm serving it like that. And as I'm touching this meat, it's very important to wipe your bags before you store in the fridge. Bag for my chicken tenders. I'll add more the next time I butcher, or I could cook this as a snack, or just stuff it in a different type of meat. So fam, thank you so much for watching that butchering video. I'll see you on the next one. God bless you and keep you. Bye bye.